I wanna be Batman, cause everybody really ain't shit to me.
This is MJ from MJ Reviews, and I'm bringing you guys another exclusive pick for the top 10 hero countdown that has been starting, and like I said before, has manifested into the big juggernaut that it already is. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring you guys my number 9 pick for you guys to look at. So without any further ado, here it comes. Yes, people, I picked Swan. Swan, for those of you who don't know who that is one of the members of the movie The Warriors. He is acting co-war chief in the movie, well, in the gang as well. Now, Swan is a complete badass. Now, when I say badass, I don't just mean, you know, cowboy boots and, you know, on top of a horse kind of shit. No, I'm talking about a complete badass war chief. Now, when it comes down to it, in the movie, Cyrus is the leader of the most powerful gang called the Rifts. Now, the Rifts, they call this whole get-together of all the gangs in New York City area to come to this sanction where he's going to be talking about how the gangs should all team up. Now, the Warriors, they're one of the gangs that get involved in this, and they're supposed to go there unarmed and, you know, listen to him talking. It's supposed to be like a truce for all the gangs. Now, during this whole truce, all the gangs are listening. One of the douchebags from that gang called the Rogues, I forgot what his name was, Luther, he shoots Cyrus and frames one of the dudes, Leon, damn, I think it's Leon. He gets framed for shooting him, and all of a sudden, you know, all the Rifts, they start beating the shit out of Leon. Now, after that, Swan turns into acting war chief in the gang. One of the members called Ajax, he's not happy with that. He's like, yo, well, how come I can't be war chief? And then all the other gang members like Snow and Cochise and Rembrandt and Vermin, they're all like, you know what, shut the hell up. He's acting war chief because he was second in command, lieutenant of what's happening here. So they have to find their way all the way back to Coney Island. And with all the gangs after them, because the Rogues, they framed the Warriors, everyone's going to be on their tail. And the Rifts, they put out a bounty saying, you know what, whoever brings them back gets this, that, and the other. So the Warriors, they have a long trip ahead of them. Now with Swan, he's the head of the gang, and he has to control everything and make sure they get home right. Now they make a run-in with this low-budget gang called the Orphans. Now the Orphans, they're kind of like off the map. No one even knows them, and they want to make a name for themselves. They tell them, you know what, it's cool if you walk through our territory, just as long as, you know, you ain't flexing any muscle. And he's like, alright. Then some girl, some hooker that's with them, she's saying, you know, you guys are weak, you know, you're letting them just trample right through your territory, you know, why don't you stand up for yourselves? Yeah, typical woman of a movie to mess everything up. I'm not being sexist, I'm just saying, usually a woman starts everything, like in Troy. I'm just gonna say, in Troy, the whole reason for Troy was because of Helen, the queen of Sparta. Just because she had an affair with another dude, started this whole war towards Troy. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, back to the movie. The Orphans, you know, they're like, alright, now you have to take off your colors because now you have to walk through. Now, any gang member, they're not going to take off their colors because it's what they're running with, and they're not going to do it. So, the Orphans, they get a plan together, they go chasing after them. Swan pulls out a Molotov cocktail, throws it at a car, scares them off like little bitches. They get into a whole bunch of different run-ins with a whole bunch of gangs, like the Lizzies, or a bunch of girls, but they turned out to be lesbians trying to bring them close so they can kill them and get the prize or whatever the Rifts were gonna offer whatever gang got the Warriors that are alive. Now, Swan, he kicks a lot of ass in this movie when they run into the baseball Furies. He kicks so much ass. He takes the baseball bats from them, starts beating the shit out of all of them. It was the shit. He's definitely the shit. He's a great leader. He has a good head on his shoulders. He knows what's a good tactical reason and what is worth losing and what's worth keeping. He knows the right thing to do. You know, he figures out the situation, and he's a good fighter, and he's a good stand-up guy. He's up there for his people, and you know, he just wants to get his people home safe. By the time they get back to Coney Island, the rogues, they track them down because they want to get the notarization of capturing the warriors who they framed in the first place. So the rogue leader, Luther, you know, he's like, oh yeah, I just did it because I had nothing else better to do, because I'm just crazy like that. He looked like a fucking heroin user for what I think he looks like. Anyway, Swan's like, alright, so let's fight hand to hand. He's like, oh yeah, you think I'm crazy? He pulls out a revolver. I don't know, it wasn't a .45 Magnum revolver, but it was a pretty big gun. He pulls it out. Then Swan all of a sudden pulls out his switchblade, throws it at his hand, it gets stuck right in his freaking wrist. He cries like a little bitch. All of a sudden, the Rifts, they show up. They heard about the whole framing and everything. They know that they were set up. So they left Luther and his little gang of rogues to get the shit beat out of them by the Rifts. You know, they had chains, they had sticks, they had pipes, they had bats, they had everything. They just beat the crap out of them right there on Coney Island in the beach. Swan, he's just a good leader. He led his people back to Coney Island. You know, he lost a couple of good soldiers on the way. You know, Leon, he got the shit beat out of him by the Rifts. I'm not sure if he died. They never really explained that. Maybe he just got beaten up. Vermin, he got hit by a train. I think it was him. I think it was Vermin who got hit by a train in the subway, got ran over. He's dead. You got, oh, I just said his name before. Ajax, he got arrested by a girl posing to be a prostitute. So, we got a couple of people who got lost along the way. So with that said, that was my number 9 pick, and I'll be here to give all the other ones. So stay tuned to all of us who are doing the top 10 countdown. This is MJawwarrior from MJawwarrior Reviews saying, I'm out.